always question things. That's a very important factor I think I've really bring into my life. Like always question things. Like, is this the best way you can possibly be doing this? If you think yes, that means you're wrong.
Welcome back, everybody, to Heroes on Set, the show for digital content creators of all kinds. Today, I have a very special guest. I got Chuck Sicuso, the homie, in the building.
What's good, everybody?
And today, we're going to get into a lot of stuff because this man right here does a lot of stuff. I'm talking about content creation, entrepreneur, graphic design, video, photo, whatever you need. He can do it.
And I'm terrible at all of them.
No, you're actually a beast, dog. So thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, so let's just get right into it. Usually how I've been doing these is, and Heroes is the theme, because I'm a big comic book nerd. So I like to start out by getting the origin story of my guests. So maybe you could talk a little bit about your background, where you're from, how you how we met at Sapphire.
Yeah.
So maybe everything prior to that, kind of like a little origin story of Chuck.
Cool. So I'll probably because it's nothing too crazy because I don't come from like all this crazy stuff. But born and raised in Las Vegas, just got my degree out of high school. You know what I mean? And then basically I kind of already knew what I wanted to do in life. So I was like, I didn't have to like battle against like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to college and all that. Like, so I started doing graphic design. And that was like in school and photography. And I instantly found a gig right out of high school. So I actually went to like, I think an adult college or something like that, or adult high school. I forgot what it's called. I think it's adult college. And then I graduated early from my senior year.
Oh, okay.
So I can get going on this gig and everything.
You're ready to rock.
Yeah, I was ready to go. And it was cool for a little bit. And then they kind of just ghosted me one day. They were just not answering their phone. I was like, hey, do I have to come in today? Nothing. And then I went there and they were gone. Like a full office just gone. And I was like, whoa.
Damn.
So it was interesting. And then I started getting other gigs, doing video and photography, like freelancing. And then I went back to, I think I went to Cashman, started doing like weddings there and stuff, like wedding videos. But it was like the corny ass stuff where you're like moving security cameras.
Oh,
like
okay. Like the CCTV.
And then all this other stuff, man. And yeah, like, so a lot of it though, I think like where I got into the actual like culture and the love for like video and photography was skateboarding. You know what I mean? Because it's a very
yeah. Did you ever watch like 411 and all those types of yeah.
So I was like heavy into skateboarding, and I still skate till this day. You know what I mean? I just cruise around and everything. But the culture behind skateboarding, they're very different. They're very weird. You know what I mean? They kind of do their own thing, and like a lot of people don't know. And this is just maybe my assumption and my theory, but like a lot of fashion you see and a lot of stuff is from the skateboarding community.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? Because they're really in the streets and they're doing weird stuff. Not on like gangster stuff, but like they're just really different characters. Yeah. So music, all that stuff like came from a lot of like the skateboarding times in my life. And then basically it just like pumped me up. Like I was just like so interested in it because I just love creating. That's my whole thing. That's why I got into graphic design. That's why I did photography, videography, because even making music, I still do that here and there on the back end.
Dope.
But yeah, that's basically it. Like I just do that. I guess we can go more into like the career paths.
Yeah.
There's so much now. Now that I think about it, because I'm getting there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get after it, man. But before we get into that, maybe could you elaborate on, like you said, you kind of knew what you wanted to do early. Like, where did that come from? Like, what was that? Did you have like a light bulb moment sort of thing? Or was it just like...
Yeah, for sure it was a light bulb moment. Because like I know for a fact, like middle school, I wanted to become like a computer engineer. Okay. And then... it was either computer engineer or architect, and then all of that like completely blew out the window when I just went to like the crappiest high school I think in Vegas. You know what I mean? And at one point it was like the dumbest school, and Vegas was the dumbest education in the country. So it must have been like the dumbest school in the country. I was like, sick. But
we're number one.
But yeah, so I think the thing was, when I really started, I had this homie and he used to take skate photos while we were skating, and it was just so interesting. And I think that kind of like completely like overthrew everything, which is so weird. You know what I mean? Because like I had all these other thoughts, and then that just completely erased that. And then I started learning Photoshop. I started doing like the MySpace editing and all that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I started like really finding out that I love this type of stuff. I've always loved computers because
Sure.
I'm a nerd. I play video games
Hell
since
yeah.
I've been young.
Yeah.
So computers are just like second nature to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just easy to learn. And I was like, oh crap. Because people don't understand, like, especially now, because like we're at that age now where it wasn't as easy to find information. You had to read forums.
Man. Yeah.
You had the, what's that? Chess for Stupid or Dumb People, like those books
Yeah.
and stuff. Like that's all you really had. Like you didn't really, and forums were still kind of new. Not too many people were doing them.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like when you had to follow like Photoshop edits and stuff, you had to follow a forum perfectly.
Yeah.
And that shit was so difficult. Oh, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'll try not to too much. I'll be good. But yeah, so it's very interesting because I'm very lucky because I know a lot of people still don't know what they want to do in life. You know what I mean? I do feel bad for that, but I was very lucky and I was able to know what I love to do, which is create. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I knew that I wanted to go into like film, TV, stuff around cameras and computers from like middle school, and everything like on my path was just kind of built to take me on that road. So yeah, I completely agree. And I was like talking to somebody about this the other day, like, yeah, people that just struggle to kind of find their purpose, their passion, you know, it's hard for me to even relate, but I certainly empathize because it's like, I mean, I can't imagine what life would be like if I was still kind of like searching around.
It is one of the most scariest things, you know, unless you're those people who just live life day by day and you're cool. I respect that too. Like that's all it. But for people who are lost, I feel so bad because I'm like, damn, because I know what I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has changed, I'd say, you know, and we'll get into that later. Like my whole thought process on just life in general has changed.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you mature and like, you know,
Yeah.
you can, you know, pivots do happen and stuff like that. But it sounds to me like you kind of, through the skateboarding, kind of opened your eyes to like, whoa, people are making content in this way around this cool thing.
Yeah.
And then like that started your journey.
Yep,
That's dope,
100.
man. Yeah. Yeah. So you and I met, I forget what year was it? It was like 2018, I want to say. Something like that.
Something.
At Sapphire. And we just had George Wilson on the other.
Shout out to George.
Shout out to G-Dubs.
Shout out to Sapphire. Too.
Shout out to Sapphire. It was fun. That was a fun place to work.
Such a great place.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember I came into the marketing department, the little squad we had. It was me, you, George, Renard. At first, and then we got some other people came on later. But that's where you and I originally met. We worked like right in the cubicle right next to each other.
Yep.
And you were doing graphic design. So where did you pick up like the graphic design stuff? Was that?
I would say like mostly like once again that was for sure the first, just due to the fact that was the easiest to get to because the camera was so expensive.
Sure.
You know, especially for somebody. You know, we didn't have a lot of money. I had to work for all my stuff. So the crappy warehouse job selling skateboards and stuff I had took a while. And I remember the first camera I got was like the Rebel.
Oh yeah.
XTI
Canon,
or something like that. The Canon.
I had one of the,
And then the
C2i.
mirror broke after like 300 photos.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like,
Oh, damn.
the pin broke or whatever, snapped. So it stopped working. But
Yikes.
yeah. So graphic design kind of came into play first just due to the fact that it was so easy. And now I guess I could say it.
Say it.
Allegedly. Bootleg programs, you know what I mean? Did like the whole thing, and then maybe you can cut that. I don't know how you feel about that. But you know, you got to be scrappy sometimes at the beginning, you know what I mean? But now I pay for it, so chill out. I pay a lot of money for it. You guys take all my money actually.
Yeah.
Every year, but they're smart.
Yeah.
And yeah, like built into it, really grew into it. I was like, oh, and graphic design was always interesting as well to me. And then, because I've always loved art, you know what I mean? I used to draw all the time, do stuff. And once again, like, I just loved anything weird and artistic, like, for my whole life.
Yeah.
So I think it just all just made sense, right? Because I wasn't that good of an artist either, though.
Okay.
And then Photoshop, I can get certain ideas out better than, like, writing on a piece of paper or drawing on a piece of paper.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then, yeah, so that kind of went from there. Graphic design, like, see, once again, like, at the thing, like you explained at the beginning, I really do feel like mid-tier because I've just seen everybody who focus 100% in those specific paths and how good they really become, like how monsters they become.
Yeah,
so that's why I have
true.
so much respect for, like, so many people, but it also strives me to be better. Like, how can I make this better? That's just how I think. I always don't think I'm the best. because I know there's so much more room for improvement for infinite amounts of time, you know?
True that. But you're also, you're being kind of humble too, man, because you're really, really a gangster. Like that. I remember when I first came on and we started doing like those spotlight videos, like the first couple like projects that George threw at me, and like the whole squad came to film. It was like 4 camera setups for like we were like just going all out for it. But I mean, just from the first shoot, I could tell like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. Like he's not just like playing around. Like he's really got some skills.
Heck yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah,
that means a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Super impressed. So what were some of the things? So you didn't go to like film school, right? How did you learn how to be so good and like all the techniques? Because you had them down as good as people that I know that have gone through formal training.
For sure, a lot of forums. I read a lot of stuff. I copied a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, how did they get that shot? How did they do this? And then I copied it. You know what I mean? I think everybody does that in the world. You know what I mean? To learn. Sure. So that's for sure how I learned a lot of stuff. It's just, and I did a lot of stuff for free for people. You know what I mean? And I learned things like, oh, don't do that next time. Oh, do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I shot a lot. Like people, like I have terabytes of hard drive of my old footage, and it's terrible. It's horrendous. I want to burn it all. But you know what I mean? Like it's still something to show like your improvement throughout like your entire process and any like creative like aspect, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that, and just like I see things like either I'm on set and I figure something out because I seen somebody, because I used to PA for movie things and all that, so I'd watch people and I'd help PA on sets. So I'm always watching the camera person because that's what I love to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Still to this day, like for some reason, like editing's hard for me because I think I'm crappy at it. You know what I mean? I don't see, like, I'm not on your level when I'm editing. You know what I mean? Like I don't. There's definitely a very like people. There's editing, like just cutting and slicing up, and then there's like editing. Which I know it sounds weird. I'm probably like it's going over everybody's head. Like, what are you talking about? But there's like really a way to edit to make the story tell perfectly. Well, yeah, there's a couple. I mean, there's like the narrative style. It's crazy, right? Like, where you're telling stories and you're doing like the little detail things like sound design and color correction and all that. It's just a hodgepodge of everything. You know what I mean? So that's why I just have respect for that. But yeah, I know I keep going like outside of the what we talked about, but it's all good. Yeah, just a lot of like copying people and learning off of people. Yeah. And asking questions, you know what I mean? Like asking people like, how'd you get that shot and all that? Of course, don't take. Make sure you're giving before you ask those types of things. Because most people are down to give out the advice. Like, oh yeah, you just do like this, blah, blah, blah. Sure. But you can learn most things now, this is why I love the future. Yeah. It's like everything's on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube. So there's no excuse. If you ask me anything, I'm like, come on, man. It's on YouTube. I promise you it's on YouTube. Yeah, that's why I love it. But yeah, that's kind of how I learned how to shoot stuff. Did you have like any mentors or like any particular people that you worked with a lot that would give you advice or tips or things like that? Or was it just sort of like it was like everywhere? Once in a blue moon I'd like meet somebody and they'd give me some advice, you know what I mean? But I never had truly like a true mentor. Gotcha. I learned everything by myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even to lighting and everything, but it was like taking hours a day. Like I'd literally be in my living room trying new shots. You know what I mean? Like that's how much I love it. That's passion. Yeah, where I'm setting up lights, figuring out how a light works, you know, and like how certain modifiers work. Like literally by myself for free. Nobody's paying me, and I'm just learning stuff and trying new things. Which it does suck because I feel like that passion right now has kind of fizzled out just due to the fact that, you know, I'm doing all this business stuff now. So I'm focusing on that. But the goal is once this gets to a specific point, whatever it is, and it relaxes a little bit, then it's going to move on to the goal where I can actually go back to all my creative stuff, but actually have financial stability behind it. You know what I mean? And be able to do whatever I want to do. Well, yeah, I remember we were talking about that all the time at Sapphire. All the time. Man, we just got to get this money. Yep, and then we can do whatever we want. Yeah, then we can just make stupid stuff. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, man. Well, that's dope. And then, so I noticed that you had skills right off the bat when we were at Sapphire. And then I also, was peeping that, and Bernard too, like you guys were hustling
in the streets, like after work,
Me
doing
and
all
Renard
kinds of stuff.
That's my guy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we just always trying new things, new
Yeah.
businesses.
Shout out to Renard.
Yeah, shout out to Renard.
Yeah, man. But you were doing like a lot of freelance stuff, I know, for like was it like Commonwealth? and
Yeah,
stuff?
Commonwealth, the Corner Bar Cats, and everything. They're still doing great. They actually own most of that area now. But that was like that was a lot of learning process and stuff. But that actually it sucks to say, like, that's kind of what burnt me out. You know what I mean? Was that
For real?
whole phase? Yeah, because it was just working the same thing every single night.
Dog, you would be like, you know, we'd be doing a shoot at Sapphire. You'd kick out tons of graphics for like the posters or
Yeah.
whatever party was going on. Then you'd be like, all right, dog, I got to go, you know, shoot this party tonight
Yeah,
till
till
like
like 3
midnight,
a.m.
till like 3 a.m.
And then I come into work at 9 a.m. And then
Yeah.
I'd be like super tired. And I did that for like 2 years straight. And I was like, bro, I gotta change my life around. You know,
Yeah.
I'm thankful for all of it because it made me, I was able to buy a house and all this stuff with it. You know what I mean? So once again, grateful. And it builds it, it definitely thickens your skin.
Mhm.
And it lessens your flinch factor for a lot of stuff. So it's just like, and it's like a muscle, you know what I mean? So you become very strong, and that stuff to a point doesn't really affect you. Because people still get freaked out now because they see, I'll still be at like the retail shop, which we'll get into more,
Yeah.
till like 4 a.m. in the morning, you know, fixing stuff, doing stuff, like figuring out things, you know what I mean? And people are like, what are you doing?
Well, I think you just have a really awesome work ethic, you know,
Mhm.
and I think that's not something that everybody has, you know, and so it's kind of like special people just have that built in from whatever reason. But I could tell you had it right off the bat, and you were just getting after it all the time. And I was like, and you were doing a podcast too.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about that, because now you can see I'm dipping my toes into this.
This blows our stuff away, that's for sure. But, you know, shouts out to Keem. He's a good friend of mine, and we go back as well, you know, with video and photography. He's both, you know, he's everything as well.
Sure.
But I know right now he's solely focused on photography, and he kills it in that. But we started Morning Dinner. He thought of the name and everything, and we were just gonna do like Vegas locals and everything, like from the culture, all different stuff. And, you know, it got to an exciting point where we had like a lot of interesting characters, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we were lucky to get like Tony Shea on, rest in
yeah.
peace and everything. So I was grateful for that. And maybe I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah, we had some interesting characters on there for sure. And really a lot of dope people from the like, you know, the local city and everything. So from all different cultures, you know, the dance, the music, and it was really nice. And it was definitely, it taught me a lot, taught me how to speak better. As you can still, I still don't know how to speak that well, but you know, I have a speech impediment.
Peach impediment.
You know, I still say, I get my R's and W's, so I'll be like, oh, look at all my wings. You know what I mean? I got that Tyson. But yeah, man, like that podcast was just more for fun, you know, learned a lot. I think you remember it because I was like the switcher. I was the audio guy. I was the everything. And so I also had a talk. So that's why Keem is way better in, you know, speaking and saying the questions and all that. So I was like, okay, I'm cool being kind of like the
technical director,
the tech part.
Yeah.
But it was hard for me because, like, you know, I'd be like, oh, it's not switching. And then ask me something. And I'd look, I'd be like, what'd you say? So, it was like, I get why you have to have somebody, or you do. Or kind of like what you have here, where you have all the three set up. We were just lazy. We were like, how can we make this the easiest possible way where we don't have to edit?
Yeah.
We can literally almost just drop it into a thing, upload the audio, combine it, and then just throw it up.
Yeah.
But it usually didn't work because Keem still had to bring it into Premiere
to do some,
because the audio because I think our frequencies are off, so it always like
drift. Oh yeah,
because the hertz. I still don't even know to this day what it is.
It's like a sample rate, and it's like I don't want to,
bro. Sorry,
bore people, but yeah, it's like there's so many little technical like points of friction potentially if you don't. It's a lot to you know to keep in mind and talk and carry a conversation. Yeah. So yeah, that must have been a lot, man. But like, how did you guys come up with, once you guys figured out a name, figured out that you wanted to do a podcast. Can you walk me through like how you picked the name, how you figured out the format, and just kind of got over some of those initial hurdles?
Yeah, I think it's like, once again, always just jumping into it and just saying, let's just do it. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, like, it's going to be crappy when you first do it, because there's going to be so many things you have to like fix and tweak. So I'd say mostly though, like, Keem was like the main brains behind all of that. You know what I mean? I did the creative stuff always, like, you know what I mean? Like how, like the graphics and all that stuff and the logo and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like the main man, like finding the talent or finding the guest and then like creating the questions and all that. Cause he just has a school background. I'm really like, it's crazy. I'm not the most smart when it comes to specific things. Like I'm good at math. I'm good at spelling, but it's hard for me to read. I can't read. And writing and stuff is just not my forte. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
That's why like it's good to always have somebody. I think that's very important. The name kind of came from, we were just throwing random things and like putting them into a Google Doc. And I can't remember. Maybe Keem remembers exactly why we picked that. I think it just hit perfectly.
Yeah.
And it was just funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was like, whoa. It kind of rolled off the tongue, like morning dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. So I think that's the thing I like about it. Because I've always loved those agencies that have the weird names. They're not as goofy, but as ours, but like Sandwich.
Yeah, hell
and
yeah.
stuff like that. Like, that's just a cool, like, for an agency.
That's just dope.
Like, that's dope. Like, I want to hire him just because that name. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of like just how we did it. And then we just bought, like, we had our cameras, of course. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we slowly like learned things around, like, on the way, like the HDMI switcher we had, because this is back in the day, they didn't have HDMI switcher. I still don't think they have a fast one. So we bought this one from this guy in China who was like making these super fast, like, hacked HDMI switchers. So there was no latency when you switched. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. It was only $180. So we bought it, and because I was doing all my research, trying to figure out all like the cheapest things we can get to whatever, because we had a compressor and all this stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, man, it's just like, and we had the worst. We had those $27 Amazon ones.
Oh,
and
man,
always after a while they'd break and it'd get like all muffled, which is so funny because if we would have just bought an audio board, we could have just bring back in the highs.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was us being cheap, which kind of failed that point, and we kept throwing them away. And we kept buying them. So we bought them like 20 times. I was like, bro, we could have bought nice mics by now. Like, this is a waste.
Well, you live, you learn. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's kind of all about.
Pay once, cry once.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. You get what you pay for. But man, yeah, so you were doing the podcast, you were doing Sapphire, you were freelancing all over town.
Mm-hmm.
What around that time, what did you love to do the most?
I still to this day I love filming.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, like when I pick up a camera and like film, it is like my favorite thing. You know what I mean? And it does suck because I've never really truly like felt an experience where I'm just the cinematographer.
Really?
At like a nice set. I've done it for like events and stuff, but like those are kind of corny to me. Like, but a nice set where they're just like, hey Chuck, do this, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Actually, I've done it a few times. That was a lie. That was a lie. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, okay, I have done it, and it is my favorite thing to do.
What about it appeals to you so much?
I think it's just like there's so many things, because like I never, like how people, what are those things called, like where it's like the lower thirds, all that stuff.
Production package?
Like all the. My bad. When you're filming, like the different framing shots.
The grids, like the rule of thirds and all that. Yeah.
And like the lines and how they go somewhere. Like I never really, I learned about it in photography, but it always like kind of just went in the back of my head because I just knew what a good frame shot is. Not saying like that sounds cocky, but it's just like you know when something kind of looks good comparably, because there's some people I'm like, why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, why did you shoot it right there? But I think that's just fun to me. It's just more fun. I don't do it because like, and I don't know how to explain it, because like that's why I still like enjoy photography as well. Like there's something about it, you know what I mean, that I couldn't really even till this day put my finger on it. You know what I mean? It's something when I do it, it doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It's like creating music. When I make music, I feel zero work ethic behind it. Like not work ethic, but like it doesn't feel like I'm bored or anything. Like I'll stay up to like 6 a.m. sometimes in the morning just making music.
Just getting in the zone, right? You know what I mean? That's same thing with me, and that's what I've always loved, like just having a camera, and because I can get in the zone so fast, you know. And with editing, I can get there too, but it usually takes like a ramp up, and it's so easy to get.
Yeah, one little thing, a phone notification, and then your focus is gone. You know what I mean?
It takes another like 20 minutes to ramp back up.
But
to
filming is nice because you're in it. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I was more into like gaffing and all that and lighting and all, but that's another monster in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same here. I mean, now that we have Saul, who I work with a lot, and he's really into that. I wish I paid more attention when I was in film school, because I'm like, I don't know, like I just wasn't as fascinated.
It's probably
with
one master class I'd still take.
Yeah.
Out of anything, you know, maybe audio and stuff, because I'd like to know how to do better audio. Because like some stuff, I'm like, how'd you get that audio from that shot? That was wild. I know it's like use the ADR and all that, but some of those, like I see them do a lot of stuff, and I'm like, they didn't use ADR for that. I wonder how they did that. But yeah, going back to lighting, like that's one thing I'd for sure probably still go to, because you can always learn so much.
And it's I mean, you can have a bad camera, but with great lighting, still get an amazing image. You know, I think I totally undervalued how important lighting was. I was just so fixated on the cameras. So kids, when you're learning how to be mediagraphers, pay attention to the lighting.
I like that, mediagraphers.
Yeah, that's
contentographer. No, that was terrible. Sorry. I'm cut.
But yeah, it's so important. But like, there's so many, like on a set, there's so many disciplines. You know what I mean? It's you kind of have to. People just gravitate towards whatever is sort of like their main passion, but it's important to get a thorough understanding of like these other tertiary, or not tertiary, but like connected pieces too.
For sure.
You know what I mean? That's the way I feel, at least. But getting back to the kind of chronology, right? So we met at Sapphire, you were hustling hard, and then yeah, I think you mentioned like you kind of were having enough success, plus like the Sapphire gig just wasn't doing it for you anymore, and I remember you dipped.
Yeah. I dipped right when, I guess you could say it. Is this going on YouTube?
Yeah.
The 19 hit.
Yeah.
And then so basically like it sucked because I was like, damn, I could have been getting paid, blah blah blah. Wow. Like, but it was so confusing, they wouldn't allow it. You know what I mean? When I tried, they were like, oh no, you kind of quit at a certain time But yeah, I was basically at that point where I was like making just as much money, doing less, you know, technically not coming in on the day-to-day thing. Yeah. Because, like, you know, once again, love Sapphire, best job I've ever had in my life, you know, as in like a workplace. But it was really feeling like mundane to me. And I was like unhappy, you know, especially working at Commonwealth too. So like juggling both was like making me super unhappy. Yeah. And then I was just like, wow. I was like looking, I was like, I could just do freelance and make the same amount of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and have more control.
Yeah, and then it like went into a lot of other stuff. You know what I mean? Like a lot of other businesses started popping up from partners that I've worked with back in the day. And then we grew those, and then, you know, what it is, like the other businesses that we have now. So yeah, I don't know. It just, sometimes you know when it's time to go. And I think it's okay to be like, yeah, I got to move on and everything. You know, it was definitely like sad, you know, because I love Sapphire so much. Yeah. And the vibes are really good. But I'm kind of happy too, because I think the 19 definitely was like the craziest thing that ever happened. You know what I mean?
For real,
it switched the tides and the whole feelings of everything, because everybody was off too. And I was like, damn, you guys all quit too? The same time as me.
Well, we got let go.
Get paid.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, I couldn't believe that happened, because I was like, okay, like I was freaking out for like, I'm sure the whole world was, but like I was like, okay, we can kind of got like some cushion. But I remember, you know, I thought I didn't know what I was going to do with myself, and my phone kept blowing up. Like clients kept calling me, like people that I'd worked for in the past. They were like, yo, we got this PPE. We got to, you know, like now's the time to like try out some new stuff. And I was getting hit up. And so that's why you and I started doing a lot more work around that time. And we did a bunch of like fun kind of out there projects. Like I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Like we did the machine gunners
Oh man,
stuff out there with like the girls and
Yeah.
guns. Like
those guys are great too, man. Everything was fun. That was fun. I've never shot so many different types of guns. I was like, this is crazy.
yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you for all those experiences, man.
Oh no,
Those are
I mean, thank you, man, because you really elevated those projects so much,
Thank you,
like
man.
with your
It means a
skills and just just you being on set. You were always so chill, but like you knew when it was like time to be on and serious and like nail these shots. And I could just say like, hey, I need this. I'm gonna go over here and get this stuff, and I need I trust you to go out and do whatever. And like you were flying drones around. I remember we did that shoot for like what was it, like those racing cars, like the ATVs, the rally place.
race. Yeah,
that was really
fun.
cool. I mean, we did a lot of interesting projects. We did those game tournaments where you made like the production package.
Oh yeah, that was a wild one. I was so stressed on that. I was like, I don't even.
That
know
was
what
that was a very
I was
stressful.
like, bro, I don't even know what I'm doing. I've never done this before.
But you made a sick like production package
Yeah.
for like the whole show, and I didn't know if you had ever done something like that before, but I knew you were, you had the graphic design, like you had the chops, like you knew kind of what looked cool, and I just trusted that you could do it, and you definitely
I respect you
delivered.
so much for trusting me, because I'm like, oh damn. But that's like the thing that I have is just like I don't want to disappoint you either, because I don't want to let you down, because that'd suck. You know what I mean?
You never have, man. And then what else? Like we did some videos for my buddy's company for like heavyweight truckers. Like we went down to Cali
that was
and like
fun.
filmed just
Damn,
a
it's
bunch
crazy.
of trucks.
Like it's just like everything kind of like that's crazy that all happened in those times.
Yeah, and it was like those 2 years.
I was working a lot too in that time, but it's just like everything goes by so fast too.
Yeah,
You
it
know
was.
what I mean?
I mean, it was a blur that whole period until things kind of started to get back to normal. But yeah, man, you were like such a major asset on all those projects,
man.
and I'll
Thank you.
probably roll a bunch of them like as B-roll
Heck
as we're talking about them right now. But remember we did. I don't want to mention the name, but like we did that music video at that dude's mansion.
Oh yeah, that was great. that was
hilarious,
amazing.
man.
That was amazing.
That was such a fun trip, and we had a lot of those. So I think it was just like I'm just thankful that I met you at the right time, because at that time I was also like trying to find other people to work with. I wasn't having the best luck, like finding people with the right skills and the right
It's hard,
attitude.
bro. It's hard.
And especially like here. And I had experiences working in LA, so I like had it's pretty easy to find.
Is it more go-getter people and people who just know what they're doing?
People that more know what they're doing, and there's so many of them, you know what I mean? So it's like, but here it's like it's hard, a lot hard. I find it a lot harder to find good crew
So
here
hard.
in Vegas. Not to say it's like, I mean, it's a great place and there's tons of great people, but it was just I felt a huge difference when I came here from LA. So when I found you, I was like, oh, thank goodness, man! Like I got somebody I can trust with these projects that get a little crazy.
And it was great working with you too, because like a lot of things too is like I've worked with a lot of people. I'm not the biggest the most hype working with them. You know what I mean? It does change my energy. I still will always work as hard as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that's one thing too is like you're a dope person. You're really on your stuff. You're insane as well. You know what I mean? So I think like just that, it's that teamwork. It just works. It's that synergy.
Yeah.
Like once that synergy is there, it's just like no stopping us type of deal.
Yeah. It's just like, let's go type of thing. But meanwhile, as you do, man, you're still hustling, and so let's start getting into some of the more contemporary things that you're into right now. Like I remember you had partnered with some homies to get into like a cannabis business.
Yes. So that was kind of like another thing that we like as well, like why I quit Sapphire as well, because like that came up, and yeah, it just it did its thing. It's been a very interesting ride, I'll say that. It's still going, you know what I mean? So I'm super grateful for it. I have amazing partners and everything, and I've learned so much from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll bet,
From the business side. It's just the one thing with like cannabis, anything that what makes it so difficult is the fact that it's still federally illegal.
Right.
Meaning you can't run ads, you can't do all like the stuff that I kind of know how to do, but it's like when it's not pushed a specific way, it's kind of hard. And I'd say like the part I feel that still is like trying to figure out like the the pathway for that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
still people are till this day are trying to figure out how to market down to that next level.
Yeah, it's because the regulations are changing all the time.
Yeah.
It's but like you said, it's so prohibited
Yep,
on all these
100%.
platforms still. That's what I was really curious to talk to you about. Like, what were some of the things that you found that worked? What are some things that totally didn't work?
Well, one thing is like one of my partners, like the one who started it, he's like kind of the one who did everything and built like a lot of culture from it. Like that's why it's called Culture and Cannabis. But he did events out here, and the event really did like, you know, it garnered a lot of like love for the brand Culture and Cannabis because that's what it was called.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just built a really good tight knit community. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of what like led it up to be somewhat of a successful brand at the beginning, you know what I mean? And then grew even bigger and bigger, and it's still killing it. So, because like now we're even in Cali. So we just got in the Cali market maybe like a month ago.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Congratulations,
Yes,
man.
thank
That's
you, thank you.
major. Yeah.
But my other two partners are like the main ones, you know what I mean? And they're like they know everything. I'm just more, once again, just, they hit me up. Hey, we need a video. We need graphics. We need website, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I'm here.
That's
there.
dope, though.
You know what I mean?
I mean? Like, and that's, I mean, you certainly are the guy to call for that stuff. So you're doing like, you're making the content basically to help promote it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And once again, it's like, it does suck because it's trying to always figure out like maybe possibly how can we promote it. It's just, if you promote on Instagram, you might get like shadow banned or your algorithm gets changed. Like it goes down. I just see it a lot. Like it's just facts. It's not wanted on any platform right now until it's federally legal. It's gonna be just looked at weird. You know what I mean? It's just, it makes sense.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, nobody wants their platforms hurt. It does suck because, you know, marijuana is like the most innocent thing on planet Earth.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nothing, you know, compared.
Yeah, even compared to alcohol.
Like, come on, alcohol is horrendous.
You're right.
It's terrible. Yeah. I'll drink it, but
cheers.
Just right out. But you know, it definitely does suck because it's like it medicinally helps a lot of people. You know,
for sure.
A lot of people use it for good things, and so it does suck. It does really suck. But just it's something that if I had more energy to put towards it, and I had like. Because I'm also not a master marketer. I'm not a master at anything. You know what I mean? I'm like the jack of all trades. So I don't know how to like pivot myself through and how to make a brand big in that field where you're basically banned from everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like marketing, like a marketing expert background, but like in that specific niche.
It's like, it's a pretty hard one for sure. Not saying it's impossible.
Oh,
That'd be a limiting belief to say. It's just like, I think you need to put a lot of energy into like how you would advertise on that certain level. Yeah,
and be like creative and like be.
That's why like mostly it's my two partners. Like those fools are monsters in that field. Like they're insane. Like of course like Culture Cannabis wouldn't be here without them type of deal.
How did you meet these guys?
Well, one JC I knew back in the day because he used to run the Culture and Cannabis events, and I used to help. But we did prior to that, like I used to film events for him and everything.
Oh, right on.
And we met through a mutual friend named Mauricio, and he was the one who actually got me into Corner Bar as well.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how we connected, and we'd chop it up over time, and I'd help him film the events and everything.
Yeah.
And he'd take care of me, of course, and everything. And then Tony, we met when I think we got a deal at New Leaf, me and JC. So we did he got a marketing deal. So I just helped with the video at New Leaf.
Cool.
And we'd go up to Tahoe, and at Tahoe, the New Leaf dispensary, we basically had a podcast, and then that's how I met Tony. Like he came up to the podcast because he was known as like the guy in Reno. You know what I mean? And he started this brand in Reno called Reno as Fuck. And it blew up. Like he was like this big, it was big in college and all this stuff. It was super. It's still pretty big up there. Like I think there's a beer out there that actually took it, and the beer is called Reno as Fuck. I think they have a deal on it, but I don't know too deep on like the business side of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, like so, and that's how we met. And then just one day, I can't remember what was like. See, that's why it sucks. My brain just works so much. I forget so much. I don't really like think of the past. I should start doing that, like writing stuff down. But I just remember one day we did talk about it. We were at JC's house and we talked about like, hey, I think we want to start a brand. And they were, once again, like I said, JC and Tony are like very good. They know everybody in the like, what is it, in the cannabis
Like the industry.
industry.
Yeah.
I could not
Yeah.
think of the word. I'm dumb.
It's all good.
But yeah, yeah, in the cannabis industry. So they had a lot of connects and everything, and it just made sense, you know. And it did great. It's still doing great. It's still like blowing my mind, like how it's doing. You know what I mean? Because like that, cannabis is not meant for small people, like money wise. It's meant for people with millions and millions and millions of dollars. You can't go, you know what I mean? Go buy a dispensary right now. It's like 7 million, 3 to 7 million.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's just
major.
the dispensary. You
That's
know,
just
then you get the production
building.
side. Then you get like the whole farm.
Yeah.
And to really make good money, it seems like you have to be vertically integrated, which means you own the farm, the production, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and the
seed to
dispensary.
store.
Yeah.
Right.
And then now you have all three. And then the dispensary also has to be in a good location.
Right.
So it's like security. That. Yeah. And then, oh my goodness. It's just like, yeah, it's definitely like a lot of stuff I see. I'm like, whoa, the barrier to entry is not small.
No way, man.
You know,
but you got in there and you guys are doing your thing. Where do you see it going eventually? Like, where do you want to take it to?
To be honest, like, I'm not too sure, because it's like mostly like I'd still love to do like certain sides of it. Like I still want to like start a media side of the cannabis business. You know what I mean? Like just focus on like foodie shows and everything, but cannabis related.
That'd be cool.
Not saying it's new. You know what I mean? Plenty of people have done it.
Yeah.
But still be a better one than the other ones.
Yeah. Put your spin on it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of them have like fallen out. It's just like, once again, I can only do so much at this point, so my bandwidth has kind of stopped. Like I can't film everything and do everything, which kind of does suck. But like if it ever gets to that point, where I think that would be like where I see it, and of course be in as many states as we possibly can, and then hopefully one day just like somebody wants a buyout, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we'll take you. We'll take you guys.
That'd be tight, and get that money and then make stupid
cool.
videos all day.
All day.
You can hire me.
Take a big salary and make dumb videos.
That's the dream, baby. That's the dream. No, but that's so dope, man. It's so inspiring that, like, you know, you're doing something that's major that I don't know anybody else that's doing.
No,
that
thank
like
you,
that,
man. Thank you.
That's super rad. And then in addition, going back to the homie Renard, you guys are doing a clothing line. I see you got the drip on.
Yes, right here.
Yeah.
This is an old sample, so old. But not the shirt. That's High Plan.
Yeah. But that jacket is tight. And yeah, talk to me about that. Like,
so this is like for sure the big passion, just because once again I'm a nerd. So going back to the computer, I love anime. I've been watching anime since I've been a baby, and it's crazy. Like, I watch anime almost every day, like disgustingly.
Wow.
Like, the amount of anime, because like there's new anime almost every, like, you know, in the new season there's like 30. So it's like rom-coms, funny ones, comedy, like all different ones. You know, of
I
course,
still like the main, violent ones.
Yeah, the main ones, the shonens. I watch all of them though. Like I watch everything, every single thing that comes onto my feed. I watch, because I'm just like, I have to. I don't know what's. It's also too because I like to eat food and watch, you know, stuff. But for sure, it's something I love, and I truly do love anime, and I watch it every day. And so this just made sense, like, as in like it just works perfectly. Yeah, I love anime. You know,
you already got that passion, and like you're saying, like the skateboard culture, like clothing is a big part of that, and like looking cool and fresh.
Exactly.
So I could see those two things clicking together. But like, what was the conversation like between you and Renard when you're like, hey, let's get in on this, let's do something here?
Yeah, because like back in the day, like we tried like drop shipping stuff. We tried everything, you know, not just anime, but like everything. Yeah, like the funny shirts, the thing, the like finding like a valuable product, because we thought like, because that was like the new thing, everybody was on that, like,
I remember that
drop shipping trend, you know.
I remember Renard would come in and be like, oh, we're gonna get some like I forget what like trinkets you guys were doing, but we were also bringing in like prototypes of shirts and stuff like that. I could see something building there.
Yeah, we were definitely trying, you know what I mean. We didn't really do too much anime because, like, you know, we didn't want to like bootleg or anything and do stuff like this where we bootleg the characters. So we were just doing more of like trying to figure out like the systems, like where you just set up an e-commerce site and then you find stuff on AliExpress, and then you just have it shipped from AliExpress to that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like a lot of testing and figuring out, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot through like the whole methods of like e-commerce and all that. And then just like just one day basically, because like previously we did we did have like a business that we were helping with and everything that was in the anime world and all that. It's just a lot of business things did not go well, you know what I mean, as a partnership and everything. So we kind of went our own ways, and we chilled out for a little bit, you know what I mean, for a while. And then it just clicked. We were just like, hey, what, like, we know how to do everything. Renard's really good at marketing and everything and ads and all that. And then I know how to source, because I was sourcing, you know, for all the culture and cannabis stuff, like all the packaging and everything.
Oh, right on.
So I was looking on Alibaba, and I was seeing like, oh, you can do anything on here. Like you can source anything. So I was like, okay, why don't we source a jacket? But yeah, like this one was our first one, and it's an inspiration. So it's not exactly the same. You know what I mean? The logo is flipped. It is altered. Because we really love the animes and everything. So like this just made the most sense, and it's higher quality. It's denim. You know what I mean? This is the older one, but it has like a quilted lining on the inside, inner pockets. We also have straps so you can wear off your shoulders without it falling off. But yeah, it hit, and then it blew up from there. And I was like, oh, like we didn't even know. Like we did our first 200 sales, and we stopped it because we were so scared. We were like, oh, that's too many. It's too many. You know what I mean? We can't fulfill that.
Yeah, I remember you guys would come in, like one time you guys came in like super tired looking. We're like, yeah, we were up all night like boxing all these sales and stuff like that.
It was crazy, man. Like it got to the point, and once again, super grateful. There's a lot of learning lessons, a lot of stupid tax that we have to pay because we're new to this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But it's just beautiful because we really do love anime, and it's I've learned a lot. Like once again, like this is probably like my favorite thing, because now it's really changed my whole you know, like I know everybody's annoyed by him, but like Gary Vee's process. Yeah. Like loving the process more than anything, because like the final point is boring. It is boring. Like once you reach it, it's done. So it's like figuring out the processes and learning all that. It's like a video game. Yeah. And like that's literally how I see life, is a video game. So I'm like, how can I make this and do the best in this, and like how can I make it better? How can we make more money? How can we do this? How
get to that next level?
Save more money and all that. And I don't want to keep saying money like it's everything. It's just a byproduct of a successful, you know, growing business. Yeah. But it's what you need to grow. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
I don't want to like count it out, but strategies we're building, you know, I'm learning how to like delegate now. I'm learning how to like build these processes throughout the warehouse. Like it's just fun stuff, and it's actually enjoyable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like one thing I've really found out, like even over, cause like, you know, over like health and everything. Cause I've been pretty healthy on like how I eat and do everything. But I truly do find out, like when you're doing something you love, you wake up with energy. It's crazy. It's like a whole different. When you don't do something you truly don't love, you're a little groggy. You're like, damn, I don't want to really. You know what I mean? You want to let it hang out a little bit longer. So that's, once again, super grateful for that. Like we're learning a lot, and we definitely want to do a lot more with this business as well. But I know this isn't just the end either. Yeah. I feel like this is.
It feels like you're just getting, and because you went from like out of a garage basically to like, and I remember we're doing like pop-ups at like barcades and stuff, and we would come out and support you guys, and then but now you guys have like a legit shop.
Yes, we have a retail store, and the main reason we did that because of the warehouse space. So it just made sense. It was close.
I don't know. I don't think we mentioned the name of the brand or the store.
Oh yeah, it's called Anime Gear Guru.
Okay, yeah.
And it's definitely growing, and we've worked with a lot of people now, and we're probably going to keep growing. There's just no way around it.
Yeah, and you guys are doing like shows and conventions and stuff like that too?
Yeah, so conventions were definitely a big thing of last year. This year they're still pretty big, but now once again we've found out, because like this is the thing, is like you figure out what you have to cut off and what to make more lean. We found that conventions are cool, but they're not the like kind of like the breadwinners to a degree. They're not the end all be all as well. Like there's other areas that, oh damn, if we would have just focused energy here instead of energy here, we would have made more money. Yeah. But it's because we thought this was it. We put all of our eggs in that basket, and then we found out like, damn, we could have just been doing it over here. We put too much energy in the wrong place. And it kind of, that's the thing I was saying about like the stupid tax. You know, the ignorant tax, which is, it's just learning, you know what I mean? Or the learning tax if you want to be
dues.
Nice. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You're paying.
Definitely paid the dues.
Yeah. But for like, you know, people that are watching this, that, you know, I hope they're getting inspired by like fulfilling their passion. What's one piece of advice, like you were just saying, things that you shifted your focus into that were more productive? What's something like that you might you could tell somebody that wants to go in a similar type of path?
Trying to think. Like that's like definitely a hard one. Just to say it one more time.
So like you were saying like you did in the conventions, that seemed like a cool thing to do, but it wasn't really like the most productive maybe or profitable or like elevating thing, or were there other things that
so I think it's just about like knowing your business and breaking it down to a point where like you should know like your accounting part and everything, so you can project stuff, you know what I mean, build out models and everything, because that's all I do is like I build out models not just for a few months, for years.
Wow.
And I do it multiple ways. I do conservative, I do aggressive, I do whatever, if we have this, if we do this, and I do this for anything I do, any business I do now.
That's
as
dope.
I build out like few years. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean we got to hit those, but it's stretch goals that we create so we can now try to attain. But then also sometimes you'll see stuff and be like, whoa, like, oh, that's not supposed to, like, if we would have just put this money over here and focused a little bit more over here, it probably would have done better technically.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's very important to know your business and know how to break down things. It's very important, because I think like Jeff Bezos and stuff, he doesn't think about tomorrow. He thinks about 5-6 years ahead. You know what I mean? He's always thinking down the line. So that's one thing I've really learned. Like, you just have to be able to do that. And like the number one thing too is like always question things. That's a very important factor I think I've really bring into my life. Like always question things. Like, is this the best way you can possibly be doing this? If you think yes, that means you're wrong. You should be able to be like, let me go see if there's something else we can be doing, because there's always something out there. You know, when you find something and you're like, damn, I wish there was just something you could clip onto here, and I bet you it's out there. You just gotta look for it. It's like putting prompts into the AI. You know what I mean? You just have to have the right prompt. Right. So it's just like question things, do that. Like I found out a lot of things too. If it sounds, because this guy I've been following, and he's like my other mentor comparably, because now we do have a real mentor, part of our business, who's like insane. You know what I mean? 2 mentors, and like they're insane. But the other one would be, the outside one would be Alex Hormozy. Have you heard of him?
I haven't heard of him.
I'll definitely send you some stuff. He's amazing.
Yeah,
but
please do.
He always be sending, like putting like, post on Instagram and everything. But he said one like, if it sounds too good to be true, like get second opinions. You know what I mean? Which is so true. Like always, once again, don't think like, oh, this is it. I'm going to give equity to this person because of this, this, and this, and they're going to do this, because you're feeling emotional. Sure. Like sit back, relax, sleep on it. That's like a new thing too. Sleep on stuff before you make any rash decision on it. If you're gonna freak out on somebody, sleep on it for a few days. Yeah. And like you'll calm down and you'll rethink of like how to like maybe speak to that person. You know, I'm still learning. Like, human, like we live in hypocrisy, so I'm a hypocrite. I still don't follow everything.
Nobody's
speak
perfect,
right now.
yeah, but that is
I'm
great
learning.
advice.
I'm learning. So it's advice if you are hearing this, you know what I mean, and you are listening, like definitely take those things. But one person who's really saying a lot of this, and I'm learning off of, is Alex Hormozy.
That's
He's a
dope.
cool guy.
I'll check him out. Yeah, man. But like, and somebody's mentioned something. It's like, most people, if you think about it, there's like a quote where it's like, most people are where they wanted to be 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to do something big, you got to think of where you want to be 5 years from now.
Yep. So true.
And it's so true. Like I've literally seen that happen.
I mean, I think the best, like I thought of it the other day, like when, and not to be messed up, but when you're a bigger person and you want to get skinny, you're not thinking about every single increment when you're getting skinnier. You think about the buff body in the mirror. Right. You know what I mean? You never think about all the processes. You're just thinking about the end goal. So that's kind of how you have to think of life. Yeah. You know what I mean? To simplify it a little bit. Maybe that didn't simplify it.
No, I think so. Yeah. Just like you gotta project kind of where you want to be so that you can manifest all those little incremental wins to get you there. Yep. And like you said, like, chart your path and like correct yourself, or just know kind of like, you take stock of
what was your thing called? Because I still even use that. You know what I mean?
The gravities?
Yeah.
Oh,
I still use
that's
it.
awesome.
Yeah. So I use cool. it. I forgot what it was called, but I just remember I move it. I'm like, what am I feeling right now? Like,
okay. That's awesome. Yeah. We'll break that down. That's on one of these videos. Yeah. I came up with this like compass for how you feel and kind of how to get to the zone.
Insane. That's like something you see in those like self-help books. You're like,
I want to do a TED talk on it one
yes,
day.
that definitely deserves one.
But I need to
sure.
like do some successful things first.
I don't know. I've seen some people on TED. I'm like, how'd you get on TED Talk? Like, what'd you do?
We're getting there anyway. Yeah. But to take that, like, so where do you see the clothing brand going in the next, couple years? Where would you like to see it go?
Yeah, like once again, different projections, different models. You know what I mean? But for sure, pretty big. Like, I see a buyout. I always see buyouts because I just think I'd get bored after a while, no matter what. Like, I get bored of something. And I think like anything too corporate-y isn't what I ever want to really be in.
Sure.
That's just me personally. Once again, that could be just me saying that right now. I can be doing this for the rest of my life. But in 5 years, I for sure see it being like, hopefully global, like really global. Like we are selling around the world, but like on that next level where we have 3PLs in different countries and everything, which is like, just warehouses. And
have the big shop in Tokyo.
Yes, it's just ours is high quality anime gear, so you don't really find a lot of it out there, right? So it's really high quality. It's somewhat expensive to a degree, you know what I mean, but it'll last you forever.
Yeah,
it's not like the cheap stuff you find, like the stuff that will tear and rip apart in a few months. It's not costumey. It's a really nice jacket. So that's what we really pride ourselves on. And other things too is like customer service. We're very good to our customers. Like we're model off kind of like Amazon. We don't talk like we don't like what is it? Like we don't reply back as fast, but we do have like a really like easy resistance to like returning stuff. Like you don't have to pay all this stuff. Like we do it for free. Cool. And we usually eat a lot of cost and all that, but it's been serving our business like very well. You know what I mean? And we do pride ourselves in like making sure our customers are super happy. So that's something I think is super important. Just as in like a general thing is just people like how you treat people in life as well. Yeah. That's how I see it. Like you should just be the best person you could possibly be. Just be a good person. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect or you have to be like, rubbing everybody's feet and stuff, but it's like legit just be a good person. Like don't be doing mean stuff because like short-term thinking, screwing people over and all that is the worst thing you could do. Like think long-term. Yeah. You know what I mean? Take care of people.
Think about your reputation.
Just be nice. And like, like I know a lot of people will still look at me and we talked about this before, like, off camera, but like see me as a pushover, but I'm like, bro, I just don't care. Like I do stuff for free and I like do that stuff because I just don't care because it makes me happy, right? So, and if it comes back, I'm pumped. You know what I mean? And so far, I've been really lucky. You know what I mean? Karma's been really good to me, and I hope I can keep this up. You know what I mean? Yeah, as long as possible.
I think you're just getting started in a way, man. But like things are definitely popping. What other like? You mentioned AI a second ago. Yes. Can we geek out about this? Please. I was geeking out with George about this, and it was so fun. But dude, like we are in a crazy time right now. Like
it's like, and I see so many people hating on it and stuff. Like you watch that Corridor Digital one?
I haven't watched it yet, but I know what you're talking about.
Bro, it's insane. But shouts out to them. They're always like reaching that new bar. But then now like the controversy as well on the art side of things. About that. But I do feel like that this is where smart contracts and everything, where like in the crypto world, will come into play because like people will be able, and maybe I'm not going to say too much because this is just my theory and my opinion, but something where the smart contract can help with like if a person wants their art online and wants it to be learned by AI, they have the ability to like
toggle that on and off.
On and off. And since it has a smart contract, which is basically like to a degree, like maybe it's almost the same as metadata. I might be butchering this. Yeah. But something where it can connect it and know. Yeah. You know what I mean? So AI won't steal it. Because like that's what Adobe, I think, is trying to do is it's Bard does it as well. It cites its sources where it took it from.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's because ChatGPT, we talked about it. I think all this stuff is amazing.
I'm so fascinated. I think it's great. I think I see I can empathize with certain people being scary to a lot of people. Always. And like make no mistake, it is going to thin the herd of a lot of people that are doing sort of like
time through history and history. When they build something, it replaces a lot of people.
Yeah, people. There used to be a guy around here, I'm sure, like changing horseshoes.
Exactly.
You know
bro.
what I mean? Now he's changing tires. You know what I mean? Like it's an inevitable thing. But I mean, what a powerful tool like Chat GPT alone.
Yeah.
Like and I was telling this to George. I think I've worked for so many small startup companies that you have like 3 or 4 people doing everything, and they didn't have a copywriter, they didn't have like a marketing person. Like now you have that like it's not a person, but now you have that tool that can function
exactly.
like that.
Because like now they have like, okay, so if you don't want to use, because ChatGPT for sure plagiarizes because it grabs its thing, and you can check it. But now they have like the one like Jasper, which you pay, which they built it and they made it machine learn where it doesn't plagiarize.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And the tones you can give it, like you can make it sound like a specific article from like Washington Post or something like that, or a specific writer that you really love, but it doesn't plagiarize. Like, so once again, I think it's always like in life, like if you have to adapt with new things that come out, right? You're not just going to sit there and fold your arms and be like, get drowned out by everything. Like you got to swim. You got to swim out of that. Mm-hmm. And I know it's hard for people, and it is sad because like it's going to change a lot of the stuff. But as humans, that's why we're very resilient. We've lived through so many years of crazy stuff, and we keep going. It's not like it's going to cut us out.
No.
And, I'll hold my tongue. Maybe Terminator does happen in 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think until we reach that Skynet like singularity, I just think it's going to really unlock a lot of creative potential for people that get stuck. You know what I mean? Like, and it's interesting right now because it'll make some amazing things, but they're never perfect. Like you still need a human in the mix. You still
need a human touch to it. You know what I mean? I don't care what anybody says. You can tell when it's like written by ChatGPT or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's also false to say some probably stuff hasn't been written by it, because once again, it's all in the prompts as well, which I do believe. Like if you know how to prompt very well, you can create some crazy stuff. Yeah, you know what I mean. I had a friend who was he's like he does hacking. You know what I mean? That's his job. Like,
that's cool.
So like for I guess like cybersecurity, but he didn't know how to fix this code, and he had ChatGPT fix it for him, and it fixed it for him.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like he was having that little issue, and he's just like, how do you do this? Blah blah blah, and it figured it out.
That's crazy.
So that's the beautiful part of it, right? And just like stuff like, okay, like 20 interview questions for this guest. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it just gives you an idea. It's just like anything else. Like, you look at pictures, right? To get an idea.
Yeah, inspiration.
You're like, oh, like what do you do when you like do a music video? Like what is it? The little books where you show them like, this is what I think it should look like. Yeah, like
the lookbook.
It's not, it's usually not all yours. It's people's stuff. So that's like the same thing. It's just using it as, it's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's a muse. You know what I mean? It can kind of.
Tool.
Yeah, I mean, as a creative person, you need to do something to get those creative gears moving.
And sometimes, if you're a real creative person, you can't just juice out every day creative.
Yeah.
There's been days like where I use too much creative, and I'm done for like 3 days. Yeah. It's hard for people who just if you just like work a binary job. This is going to make no sense what we're talking about, but when you use the creative juices, it's like working out really hard. You get super tired. It's like one of the most tiring things. You'll just pass out. You'll be like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah, or like, you'll just kind of go brain dead for like a little bit because you're making so many decisions. Like your mind is factoring so many things in your conscious and subconscious, and
because formulas are binary. They're already in the system. 2 + 2 = 4. That's already there, and we all know this. But with creativity, it's subjective and it's completely infinite, and it's just out in the world. So it's like that's why I just have so much respect for so many people, because I'm like, whoa. Yeah, this is crazy. But that's why I do love AI, because it's a tool that helps those specific times, because some people have livelihoods off this, and they need to pick up the pace a little bit. So they're like, okay, cool, this is a good way to like get me back on my feet, rethink about something, and look at it and be like, oh, okay, cool. Like this.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna level the playing field for a lot of like smaller companies to compete with bigger ones. I know, like for here, the work I do at Nito. Shout out to Nito.
Yeah. Beautiful office.
This episode is brought to you by Nito. Nito, your e-commerce accelerator. All right, that's a good plug.
That was great.
But like I'm playing around right now with Midjourney, trying to create backgrounds we do a lot of product shots. Like a a grassy lawn or like a kitchen and just put it on the big screen TV and film in front of it like we're on location. And dude, it's working really well. And so now it's like, okay, I don't have to rent a location or go to Timbuktu.
And then like if you get like freaking, what is it, the Unreal thing, and then you have like the HTC Vive or whatever they use, so you could track in 3D space and all that. Like, bro, I love it, and it's getting cheaper and easier, and it's more in the hands of the people, which I think it should be. I don't think it should be big conglomerates owning everything. And I do think we're gonna see shifts in certain areas, but we're also gonna see shifts in more independent films, more independent, like smaller creators coming up and being able to do things without, once again, having to spend a fortune to do something, which I think is actually beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's where like some of the best, most creative stuff happens, when it just like, it becomes accessible enough for people to like,
because
really
now you have the cats who were like hidden, being able to pop up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, especially if they're really driven and they have got, there's so many great ideas that have never been able to get produced mostly because of money or just time or
like that's the one thing with technology, man. The more it grows, the cheaper it gets, the smaller it gets, the lighter, everything. It just it gets easier. You know what I mean? But I know it's going to be a good thing in the end of the day. I think it's going to help a lot.
I think it's going to be great. I think I don't see it replacing people the way that a lot of people are afraid that it will, though. But I do believe for real, like the creative people that can adopt it and use it as their tool, they're gonna win.
Because now if they're already crazy and they could produce on a like 10 times more on the content, and they're already that crazy, oh my gosh, like you gotta watch out. So that's why I do believe in competition. I do believe anybody has to understand, like if they're in this, I guess, rat race or whatever you want to call it. You have to compete, man. And competition is good, though. That's what breeds innovation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like without competition, we wouldn't get better as human.
Right.
A human
100%.
society. Yeah. So I think everybody should understand that it's okay. It's okay for people to be better than you, because hopefully you have the go like, oh, I'm gonna be better than him, and then just keep going up and leveling up. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, because like sometimes it's gonna weed you out and be like, damn, this ain't for me.
That's true. But yeah, I just think it's just such an interesting time. Like, man, I've seen in my lifetime like the internet, and then YouTube, and now this.
We came through the craziest, because we had nothing through to everything. You know what I mean? Anybody from like the 80, 90 to 2000, whatever. You seen everything, and it was kind of like, it wasn't calm either. No, it was like a straight like.
It was just like one
hockey
day
stick growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like one day there was text messages. Oh, okay.
like fat Nokia phones, and then flip phones, and then thinner phones, and then really thin phones, and then internet, and then all this stuff started happening. I was like, whoa, this is pretty dope, though. But I wonder like how many times, like I'd love to know like certain things that were created in history that replaced specific people, like jobs and stuff, and I'm pretty sure it happened time and time over. You know what I mean?
Time, but now just it's accelerating so much.
But it's funny because like you always need people to a degree. It doesn't like eradicate humanity.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, it actually oftentimes creates other challenges that you need people to work on those unintended consequences.
Exactly. Because we have to understand, like, yes, the bar was set here, but now the bar just moved up even more.
Yeah,
we don't know what it is maybe yet, but one day we're gonna find out, like, oh, this is what we could use AI for. Whoa, we can actually use it to like figure out how to like do better in agriculture.
Or cure a disease or like whatever.
But we already know that's all big money. No, I'm just
yeah, man. But it's just such a crazy time. So it'll be interesting to see, what the next few years have in store.
Oh man, I'm excited. I've never been so excited. Like even just all the camera equipment that's coming out, and then
oh my god,
Aperture just cut out their LED bars.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm like, damn, that's dope.
All the new drones. So we got the DJI Avata.
Yeah, I need to, because you got one, right?
Yeah, we got the Avata.
Oh man,
it's
the race
so
one, right?
much fun. Yeah, the FPV
How
one.
hard is it?
Well, truth be told, I'm still in training for how to truly fly.
Do you have it on
stuff.
GPS mode so it doesn't like flop out the sky, or do you still kind of do it like?
So there's the FPV, and then the Avata is sort of like a weird hybrid, and it comes with like a like a controller stick.
Yeah, this thing.
We'll take it out at some point. It's really easy to fly with the stick, but it's not true FPV. It's kind of like somewhere in the middle.
FPV. Okay.
FPV is like I look at it like what it feels like to me is the difference between driving an automatic transmission car with a manual transmission car. Like for a normal drone, like a Mavic or something like that. Like,
yeah, it floats by itself.
Yeah,
but this is like you always have to be on it.
You have to hold it in a certain tension point, or that thing's coming straight down. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it. That's how you can get those crazy shots, because you basically can shoot it way up in the air, aim it straight down, and cut the motors, and just
all those people, because
it's scary
bananas.
as hell. I've only done a couple flights like that. What's cool though is they have the flight simulator that you can do, and you can wear the goggles.
Does it work good?
It works really good.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it, and so I'm just trying to bank hours there, so I feel more confident bringing it out. But like, what's cool though about the Avata is you can launch it in like normal mode, and then you can switch to manual mode, and then you can switch back if like you get in trouble.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
But man, yeah, those if you get an FPV, like get the care replacement thing or whatever, because I'm
gonna start with like the small one that's like this big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just so I could practice around my house and just race around my house a little bit, and then I feel like that's a good way to train.
Yeah.
And then slowly move into the race drones.
Yeah.
Not really filming, but just for fun. It just looks fun.
Bro, I'll see if I can find the clip. We were shooting we were trying to go through gaps. So we take like big cardboard pieces and like cut out like circles in different shapes and just try to see if we could go full speed, like bomb and go through the hole. I flew it through my legs.
Oh, that's sick.
It was like, all right, let's see. Cause I was just like, I'm going through it so easy with this controller. It's awesome, bro. We'll go out and fly it sometime. Man. It's super fun. Have you seen like they have like drone like cars? Like big drones.
Oh yeah, those big ones, the big
flying
big ones.
cars.
They were like, oh, this is gonna change.
That's gonna be cool.
And you don't need helicopters and all that stuff anymore.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, they got the cars now with the cranes on them.
Yeah, dude, we are living in the future. I
love it,
and it's pretty neat, man. But well, thanks, man. This has been so dope. It's been a while since we got together, so this is a great way to like catch up, man. So
hopefully it wasn't too boring for them, and if it was boring,
whatever.
That sucks.
Yeah, whatever. Haters gonna hate. But yeah, man, I'm gonna have you look to this camera, and I just want you to plug whatever you want, your clothing brand, your cannabis brand, your brand, whatever.
Yeah.
Let it rip.
Cannabis brand is Culture and Cannabis. The site is Culture and Cannabis. Oh damn, what is it? cultureandcannabislv.com. But definitely check us out. Just Culture and Cannabis. You'll definitely find us on Google and everything. And then Anime Gear Guru, ANIMEGEARGURU, period.
Word.
COM. No, I'm just kidding. Anime Gear Guru, and that's just another brand, anime brand and everything. Really dope stuff. So check out our Instagram, website, and if you're in Vegas, definitely come by our retail shop. And that's basically it, man. Nothing too exciting about me. I'm a pretty boring person.
Oh man, humble flex over here. No,
boring.
Dude, you're the truth, dog.
Ass. Cheeks.
Booty cheeks. Oh man. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. But really appreciate your time, and we'll see you again next time on Heroes on Set.